All right. So I'm here today. One of my all-time favorite people, Mr. Reggie Farmer II himself. Reg, thanks for coming on, bro.
Yeah, thank you for having me, bro. It was automatic. As soon as you asked me, I was like, for sure, man. When, where, what is it? Let's get it. That's it. So glad to be here.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure the audience is going to be as happy as I am. Today, we're going to cover mostly your career as a football player. Throughout this whole thing, we hope to get some powerful takeaways, especially for kids that are trying to do what you've already done, which is go and be successful in high school football and at the college level. So we want you just to tell us a little bit about that. But what I'd like to do first is kind of start at the beginning, right? When did you first kind of get acquainted with football? Like, how early was it? Was it 2, 3? What was it?
Yeah, it was around 6, actually.
6.
It was before I even started watching football on TV a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And from my memory, my dad was a really great football player, and my family members at family gatherings, whether it was like a family reunion or something like that, they had the utmost respect for him as an athlete and how far he could have gone as an athlete. But there was injuries that hindered him from proceeding. My dad was 6'3", 230 pounds. He was a big man.
Yeah.
And from what I saw when I was in 7th, 8th grade, I got to see him play basketball. They had like the school council or employees and teachers and things like that. And he was an SRO, student resources officer, and he got to play against his students. And it was really cool to see him out there doing his thing. And I was like, oh, okay, the old man got skills. He got skills. I see where I get it from. I've never seen it before, but I can see it now. So that's what really got me into it. And started out playing Pee-wee football, like 5 or 6. Really, I was really small.
Yeah.
And it's really funny. I started here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee for the Mustangs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I remember the Mustangs.
Yeah, for the Mustangs. And when I first started playing, I really wanted to run the football. Yeah. And this was my first year playing. And when I started, they weren't giving me the rock, man. They weren't giving me the rock. I was so, as my little kid at 5 years old, 6 years old, I was so frustrated. And I'd ask my mom, like, I want to run the ball. How can I do that? I want to do that job. That's the job I want to do. They had me at like corner or some shit. I was like, no, not what I want to do. And we asked the coach. My mom went up to him, talked to him. I was standing there, and they said that they would give me an opportunity. They gave me a playbook and told me to go home and learn the playbook. And it's like, I'm 5 years old. I don't know what this means.
Yeah.
Teach me something, please.
Yeah.
Well, I was, my mom was frustrated with that, so ended up going to Nashville the following year to play football, where I would get an opportunity to do what I wanted to do. And I turned out to be really freaking good at it too. So
yeah,
which is awesome.
What team was that?
Salvation Army Bobcats.
Bobcats.
Yeah, Nashville. 7 and 8 is when and the next season I was able to actually tote the rock. So it was good, man. Yeah.
And y'all were damn good. The Bobcats were always like undefeated.
Yeah, we were really good. We were really good those 2 years. We had a really, really great squad. And I ended up, we had some stars on the team. We had some people who were more experienced than I was with, and the coaches. There was a lot of coaches' sons on the team.
Yeah.
And they ended up getting me right, though. I ended up excelling on that football team. It was a lot of fun, man. Yeah.
So, Red, I never knew. So, at that young, you were like saying, "Put me in the game."
Yeah.
Dude. Okay. So, and that's why, amongst other reasons, you went way further than me in football, because when I was that age, like, I was glad to be on the team, but I just remember being, 7 and 8 years old, and the big kids were out there, and it was like time to go in, and I was like, I kind of didn't want to go in. You know what I mean? Like, the coach was like, you gotta go in. And I was like scared, Of course, once I got out there, it was kind of okay, but damn, that's crazy, dude. And I think that's the difference sometimes in the athletes that end up doing what you've done, and the guys like me that, But anyway, so that's awesome. So your dad really inspired you.
Yeah.
Did he play football too?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
How far did your dad go?
He played a couple years in college until he had a back injury.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then he didn't play anymore after that.
Gotcha. But he was pretty good at basketball
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
He's a really solid athlete, and that, I mean, I can tell like I'm really really extremely blessed athletically.
Oh yeah.
And I believe that's where it came from, was mainly from my dad. I've seen my mom; she's definitely athletic for sure. But
I mean, your mom cheerleader from
she
TSU.
cheerleaded from MTSU.
So you just
yeah.
you loaded.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. So you ended up going to the Bobcats. They let you run the rock like you wanted to instead of that bullshit with the Mustangs.
Yes.
And that was seven. That's probably third and fourth grade, or second and third grade, something like that.
Yeah. Second and third. It was third grade. Yeah, third grade is when I moved to Nashville.
Got you.
Yeah, third, fourth grade.
Cool.
Yeah.
So since you wanted to run the rock, did you like down the road? Did you continue to want to like? Did you after you wanted to be a running back? Must have been okay, and you continued to want to be a running back, right?
Yes, to a degree. I was really shy. Like that one instance, I was so young and just bold that I would be like, yeah, that's what I want to do. And I just didn't know any better.
Yeah.
And once I'm imagining in my childhood, I had a few more experiences where I asked for what I wanted or put myself out there and somebody said no. And then I reclused and went into a really shell type state. I was like a little turtle hiding.
Yeah.
I didn't really speak up for what I wanted very well. And that was one of my bigger downfalls when it came to college sports or even high school sports. I believe if I would have used my voice a lot more, I could have had a lot more opportunity. Yeah. They say closed mouths don't get fed. And that is a partially true statement for sure. Yeah. And I experienced that directly. And then when I did speak up for what I wanted, the likelihood that I was going to receive that went up big time. And that really voted well for me in college. Yeah. That's how I ended up doing the things I did and getting a scholarship and all that stuff, because I put myself out there. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, man, that's powerful, because it sounds like what you're saying is kind of that, I feel like I've been through these experiences too before. Like, there's something as a kid that I did that I wish I could go back and do that. Have you ever seen Mr. Deeds with Adam Sandler?
Yes.
Where he's talking about there's just one where he's like, what did you want to do? And the guy says, well, I wanted to be a veterinarian. He's like, what do you do now? I own a chain of slaughterhouses. It's like, okay, you kind of went backwards there. But anyway, for me, man, it was like, there's so many things kind of similar to that. I've learned that lesson too, where it's like, when you're younger, you just say what's on your mind, and it works out. And then when you get older, you went through a phase where you got rejection from that, and it taught you something different, but it was actually a bad lesson. Like, it made you go a wrong direction for a long time. Now, thank God like you said, you got out of it and figured it out later. I wish I would have figured that out. But anyway, man, yeah, that's awesome. Cool.
Yeah, it was a big deal. And my mom and other people in my life used to say, like, speak up. Especially my mom used to say it a little bit more so the men that were in my life would say, you got to speak up. Like, what do you want? What do you need? I can't read your mind. Right. And I would get some of that reinforcement, yet that had to be nurtured within me. It needed to be nurtured within me. Yeah. From somebody that I felt loved by, I felt seen by, particularly a man. But I didn't live with my dad. I lived with my mom. Right. Mm-hmm. So I spent every other weekend with my dad, but that's not like enough time to really receive those lessons, receive that blessing from your father to be like, okay, this is how you do this, is speak up for yourself, things like that. So those were things that I became aware of later in life, after a lot of pain and a lot of not getting where I wanted to go, or having the experiences that I wanted to have, or with football in particular. There's one big regret within me that I hold to this day, and I haven't really spoken much about this. I actually feel frustrated about it when I think about it now in this moment. Yeah. And it was the fact that I didn't ask to run the ball in high school just like I did when I was younger, because I was really, really good at it. Like there was some instinct or natural, pure intuition that just came up when I had the rock in my hands. Yeah. And the few carries that I did have towards the end of my high school career were excellent. Like I had there was about 3-game stretch. I had like 6 carries and 3 touchdowns. And that's when they started to give me the ball because they realized how talented I was at it. But
Right.
we had 11 stars on that offense, 11 stars on defense.
Yeah.
That's the way our team was structured. And we were a great football team.
Yeah.
A state.
And you were already
state
starting on
championship
defense.
team. Yeah,
So
no,
it's
I was
like,
already
people don't play both ways.
not on our football team.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I could have, for sure.
Yeah.
It was just I was afraid to ask for what I wanted.
Yeah.
I was afraid to go up to coach and be like, yo, put me in the game. I can do this. Hand me the rock. It doesn't matter how we get it, how I get it, pitch, counter, screen pass. I don't care. Just throw me the ball. Get me the ball. I can run, catch, whatever.
Yeah.
Return kicks. They did put me on punt return because they knew I was talented, but I had trouble with catching punts. So didn't do too much of that. And we can go into that later. What could have helped me be a better punt returner, punt catcher, and giving me more chances to get the ball in my hand. Yeah, and support my team because I feel that if I would have had that opportunity, we would have won state. That's my personal belief within myself.
Yep.
And I talked to some of my old former teammates, and they're like, our OC from that football team, he mentioned to one of my good buddies that we should have gotten Reggie to football more at the end of that season, and he knows that was a mistake, and it could have been shifted if I would have stood up.
Yeah.
And stood up and been accountable for my own desire.
Yeah.
To run.
Now that you say that, and obviously you and I played backyard football a lot growing up. I mean, and a lot of the other guys that we played with growing up, that were really good there, they ended up really good in other areas in life, in athletics especially. And for me, it's like, oh shit, where was I going with that? Fuck, man, I just fucked up our whole flow.
Oh, you
No, we'll cut that. No. This is what I was gonna say. We kind of jumped ahead a little bit, but now I'm in this shit.
There's a lot to go through, bro. We can jump
There's
around.
so many things I want to talk about.
We can jump around, man. It's all like whatever comes through. Like I'll jump forward, and those are just details that came up immediately.
No, yeah, and I want to expound on that. What shocked me was I remember watching you in high school, and you were always playing defense, and I didn't say anything, but I just remember you being so fast. Like, what, you ran like a 4.4, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you were extremely elusive, like quick, agile, hard as fuck to tackle. Excuse my language. But just like, there was it was shocking me. I can't believe I didn't say anything. But anyway, yes, I'm glad you mentioned that. But it sounds like that one of the things you're saying here, it keeps coming up. You got to say what it is that you want. You cannot be quiet. Like, if you want to do something different, you got to say that. I feel like I've been there so many times, and I've missed out on opportunities because I just didn't open my mouth. So yeah, that's powerful, man.
Yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is, and for kids or people in general who are quieter or shyer or aren't taught to ask for what they want, or grow up in households where asking for what you need is, frowned upon or not, not respected or not invited, then it can become really difficult for you to ask for things in, when you're teens or preteen or whatever. And then that leads to adulthood for a lot of people. So it's not something that we're taught, and it starts at home. Yeah. So it's something that gets to be cultivated within yourself once you realize that that's an issue for you. Yeah. Or if there's a lot of things that you're walking around or people are walking around, desires that they're walking around with in the closet or in the dark, and they've been wanting these things for years or however long, and they haven't spoken them, is something to just reflect on and look at. Yeah. And football was a prime example, a microscope on the situation for me of a more macro situation that was prevalent everywhere for me and in other people in my life. So yeah, man.
Yeah, powerful lesson.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is I'm thinking about it. As I was just thinking about it, I was like, for a second, man, I wish I could go back and kind of do that at times that I wish I would have done it. But now when I really think about it, there's way more situations ahead of me. I'm 32 years old. There's way more situations ahead of me and opportunities ahead of me where I'm going to get the ability to decide if I'm going to ask or not than there are behind me, right? Or than I had in the past. And so I think that's powerful for anybody listening. Like, whatever you're doing in life, if there's something that you want, whether it's a relationship or job or whatever it is, like, you got to ask. So yeah, I like that. That's good stuff, man.
Got to put your hand up.
Yeah,
and that it's taking accountability for your own innate wants, your own innate needs, your own innate vision for yourself. I had a vision that I could be an extremely talented running back or offensive player, and that was an internal feeling that I had more than even a mental like vision. I could visualize it, I could feel it. It was a knowing. I didn't have to conceptually think that I could do this. It was just like, I know I can do this because this is like part of the reason why I was born. It was like that feeling, you know?
right.
Yeah.
This is what I was born to do.
I was born to do something like this in sports with my body.
Yep.
So just taking ownership and accountability comes down to standing up and being counted. And it's like whenever you're in team sports, it's like, how many people can you have on the team to stand up and take accountability for their role on the football team, for their role within the process, for their role, whatever is going on, whatever phase of the game it is, whether it be special teams, offense, or defense? How many people are going to stand up and be counted and take responsibility? And a lot of that can also come down to like communication on the football field or off the football field, or inviting people to go work out or do extra reps or whatever the case may be. Just choosing to be the one that is going to embody that and be maybe not the vocal leader. You don't necessarily have to be vocal about it, but it's just showing up with that energy and that essence that is infectious for others to want to model. And I know we're getting along the way, but one person that modeled that to the T for me was Kevin Byard. Played at MTSU, now plays for the Tennessee Titans. Highest paid safety in the NFL. There's a reason for that. And he was in the embodiment of a true leader. Yeah. The embodiment of somebody who played with their instincts. The embodiment of somebody who played with their innate intuition and capabilities and honed it and went to work on it. Yes, he's naturally gifted, yet I would say that there was other people on the football team at MTSU that were more athletic than KB, from what I could see.
And that's not the first time I've heard that. Yeah. So I mean, well, that's interesting, man. Yeah, powerful. So yeah, clearly there's a lot of energy here, like so many things I want to talk about. So
yeah,
I'm trying to stay focused, but
we can bounce around, we can go up, we can go down, we can spiral. It's all going to end up perfect and exactly how it needs to be. So
yeah,
good to go, man.
So let's continue down the timeline. We left off with where were we in the timeline of football? We were at
I went to Salvation Army Bobcats, 7th, 8th, 3rd grade.
That's right.
Great experience.
Yep.
At that time, my mom was dating a guy named Devontae. Harlan Lumsden was his name. And he was from North Carolina. Grew up in a rough neighborhood. He was thugging, basically. And he was very disciplinary, very savvy, just a savvy person in general. Just intelligent, not in the school way, more street smarts.
Yeah, a lot of
just life smart, very intelligent person.
Yeah.
And he was young. He was 22, 23 when he was coaching me.
Yep.
Once he stepped into my life, it was the first year or second year I was at Salvation Army. When he came into my life, my skills accelerated massively. And it wasn't only the drills that he was putting me through, it was also the belief that he had within me, because he had that same belief within himself. And once his confidence rubbed off on me, I started to gain so much confidence that I could be the best player on the field at all times. And he instilled that within me. And tough love. And that's exactly what I needed at that time. And that's when I became really, really great because of that level of support, nourishment, being seen, being guided, being pushed and pulled by myself and by him, being shown the way, shown the path. He had played college football, and he was really good at it. And yeah, man, that was a life changer for me. And then he ended up the following season. He ended up getting shot, passed away. That was really challenging for me. But I noticed that after that, my confidence went back to where it was before.
Yeah.
He was there. I still have those memories, but when I was younger, I didn't know how to continue to proliferate those experiences that I had with him.
Right.
Yeah. So if he would have been around for a longer period of time, there's no telling, man. Because that dude, he's one of the most confident people that I can remember in my life.
Yeah.
Like once again, Kevin Byard comes to mind. With that level of confidence, there's not many people that can walk through life like that, man. It's just like, damn, that's some whatever they're on. I want some of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
is it like Trey confidence?
Yes, Trey's another person actually.
Yeah.
And I know if I would have been with him in in high school,
Yeah.
Trey is our cousin. For those of you out there listening, he and I went to a few camps together, Tennessee Titans camps growing up. Spent some time together playing. Whenever I got with him, it was so good. We were on one. So I thought about going to play with him in Memphis. He tried to recruit me out there. So ended up staying in good old Brentwood though. Yeah.
That confidence, man, it's huge.
It is. It is. And when you have someone like that in your circle, it just rubs off. Yeah. It sets the standard, sets the bar.
And that goes back to what you were saying earlier, like those people that elevate other people.
Yes.
They walk around with an attitude. Like I know, again, going back to Trey, like I remember he walked around with the attitude was just like
swagger.
Like I'm
here.
I'm here. Like y'all, you can't miss me when I'm here, when I'm present. And it's just like, you were like, oh, I can get with that. That's where I want to be. I want to have that, nothing kind of phases me. You know what I'm saying? I totally believe in my abilities. I don't second guess myself at all. And that's when you're able, I think, to really tap into what it is, like you said, you were born to do, right?
Yes.
So
man, it's nature and nurture. Some people come through with that level of being and presence. A lot of us do.
Yeah.
But we get it beat out of us.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's nurture as well. So being around coaches and people who emanate that level of belief and trust and confidence and security within themselves as a human, that regardless of what happens externally, period, they still on cloud nine. Yeah. They're still rocking. They're still solid. And that feels really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good.
Well, dang, man. Okay. So just tell me the
next deal.
Yeah, like, so wait a minute. What age was that? That was like probably 12, 13?
That was much younger than that. That was like eight or nine. I was really young when he passed away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, did that. He passed away. And then I moved on to a different team called the Powell Raiders.
The Power Raiders?
P-A-L.
The Powell.
Yeah.
Powell
Raiders.
Okay.
Moved on to that team. Continued to excel. Continued to grow. Continued to expand my ability to play football. Really good.
Was that a school team or like a city team or what?
It was a city team.
City team, okay.
City team. Yeah. Did really well. I played there for 2 years, 2 seasons. Had an amazing experience. And then after Devontae got killed, we were living in East Nashville, which is ghetto. Yeah. It was ghetto. It's not anymore.
Yeah, it's hipsters now.
Hipster now, for sure.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, it's way different now. Anyways, East Nashville was a tough neighborhood back in the day. I got in several fights, altercations, and I'm a quiet, nice person.
Yeah.
And there was just some altercations that were unavoidable. I had to defend. There was nothing that I had to defend myself. And after those things happened, Devontae got killed, and my mom was just like, you know what? We're done with this.
Yeah.
It's no longer suitable for any child to grow up in and be a healthy human. So she was like, let's put you in a new environment. So we moved out to Williamson County to Brentwood, which is a much different population, different school system, well reputable school system. From a socioeconomic perspective, there's really wealthy, top 5 county in the world, in the country, probably something like that. It's definitely in the top 20 for sure.
Yeah.
So a completely different experience from that of Nashville.
Yep.
But I had to get reacquainted with new coaches, new friends, new environment, things like that. And I was a really quiet, shy kid. Yep. So the first 2 weeks that I spent in school, I spent it like this. My hoodie over my head, walking around trying to be small and not be seen by anybody, because it's like if I'm just quiet and small and not seen, then nobody will bother me. I won't have to fight anybody or have any altercations or anything. And plus, it was like I went from an all black school to all white school, so I was really uncomfortable being in a new environment. It was like a culture shock.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know. And anyways, got to know some of those coaches. They wanted me to play football. I was like, cool, I'm down to play. And once I got there, that quietness, that shyness just took over my entire middle school experience. I was just quiet and shy the whole time. 6th, 7th, 8th grade. Yeah. Didn't speak up for anything. And once I got there, they primarily had me playing defense more than off, because I was so small, man. I was like literally 4'11", like less than 100. I was like 87 pounds. Yeah. I was small. They didn't give me much of a chance to do any of that stuff. And same thing. So I didn't play 7th grade. I was internally in 6th grade, I was upset because I didn't get to run the ball, but I didn't say anything about it. So I was really angry and resentful and sad that I didn't get to do that. And I didn't say it to anybody. I may have told my mom, but that was it. And there's only so much that she could do for me, you know, which she did a lot. For sure, especially when it came to college football. So 7th grade, didn't play. I was like, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to do something else. I ran cross country. 8th grade came around. I was like, all right, I'm coming back. And then again, same thing happened. Back on defense, not playing offense. I really enjoyed it. Had a great time and did well. It's like, I still want to run the ball. So I ended up asking eventually, like they got the cue that I wanted to, whether I like spoke it verbally or just like my body language, they could read me pretty well. So they gave me a few runs towards the end of the season, and that was cool. And then I transitioned to high school and I was still small, just over 100 pounds, 105, 5'2" at the start of my freshman year, and ended up playing defense again. Same story, same thing. But this time I spoke up a little bit, and I got to run at the end of the season. Once again, same pattern. Get upset, frustrated, first 6-7 games of the season. Last 3, tell them, I want to run the ball, get the ball a little bit, do my thing. But I was getting rusty by that time with the ball. Yeah. Running the ball, I wasn't used to it. Yep. Post that, sophomore year, started gaining some size. By the end of my freshman year, I was about 5'7.5", maybe 135 pounds. So I put on about 20, 25, 30 pounds. Good amount of weight and height.
Significantly different.
Yeah, significantly different. And still, my athleticism was rising really quickly, going through puberty, things like that. Yeah. But still was playing defense and only played JV. Small player, once again, could have likely played at played varsity level. But just for me, I know the thing that was holding me back was my level of belief within myself. That was the issue. Yep. So fast forward junior year, finally get a chance to play varsity, play defense, and once again, doing really well, really picking up this safety deal. Playing safety is what I played. I loved hitting people. I was really strong. And I had a really good experience that year, did really well. My senior year is really where I was shining. I was young for my grade, and I was a late bloomer. So I was actually...
You graduated at 17, didn't you?
Yeah, I graduated at 17. I could have been a year later in 2010, and I likely would have had a different experience.
Yeah.
Would have got a lot more attention from colleges and things like that.
Yeah.
With holding myself, being held back. But I started school early.
Yeah.
So that worked against me for sure. And senior year, showed out, had 5 interceptions, a lot of tackles, big plays. Like I said, I had in the last like 3 games, probably 6 carries, 3 touchdowns, like doing my thing. I was playing really, really well, playing at a really high level, yet still wasn't getting very many looks from college level, if any at all.
Which that's crazy to me. I don't mean to cut you off, but I was, I went down to a friend of ours' wedding a few months back, and I was talking to one of your actually old teammates, and he played for Innsworth in high school, and he was saying he just remembered hearing about you. Like, he's at Innsworth, that's private, they don't even play you guys, and he just said he remembers hearing about you. He's like, who is this guy that's like over at Brentwood doing that, and that's that's one of the things I want to talk about later. But like, how we have so many guys that are like, obviously I'm not diminishing what you're talking about. There's other guys that do what you were doing, and they don't seem to get like the looks. You know what I'm saying? And it shocks me. But anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, we can talk about that. I still to this day I have my perspectives on what I could have done differently.
Yeah.
Like for me, I believe that if the coaching staff was more invested in post high school play, then I would have had a much better opportunity to play at different schools or more scholarship offers.
And okay, let me stop you for just a second,
Yeah.
because I wanted to talk about that. So when you say invested, you mean they were focused on, if they had been more focused on helping players get to the next level, then it may happen more. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay, go
ahead.
The
coaches were out there, talking to recruiters or talking to other coaches, and really putting a lot of effort into ensuring that the guys that want to play at the next level get the opportunity, especially if they're capable of it. And there was 3 athletes on our football team that were D1, bar none, like easily D1 athletes.
Yeah.
Cole Tischer, Cameron Mason, and myself. And both of them also played D1 college football as well. I got an opportunity to face Cole Tischer when he played at WKU.
Yeah.
So that was something that was a major downfall. My mom ended up doing so much of the speaking to coaches, so much of the reaching out, so much of this, so much of that, and she's my mom. Like that's a part of. That's not what she necessarily needs to do, but she wanted to make sure that her son got his opportunities, right? She loves me, so she did that. I remember she was working harder than me.
I just want to say respect for a second.
Yeah.
I just want to say the word respect.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Big time. She went hard, bro. Like, hard. Like, dude, she was out here talking to grown-ass men about her son playing football, female. Yeah. Like, it's not easy talking sports. I mean, imagine to men who, probably assume that women don't know very much about the sport. It's just the way things go when a male-dominated sport, you know? So, yeah, she did that. Stuck her neck out there. I remember her sending emails. She made me some DVDs, my highlight film, got that put together, was mailing them out, all kind of stuff, man. So that was like, so awesome, and I got looks from that. Yep. South Carolina State was one, North Carolina A&T, Samford University is where I really wanted to go. Really, really enjoyed that football team, that program. When I went down there and visited, I fell in love with it, wanted to go there. But yeah, she got me a lot of those opportunities, and I believe that it would have been a lot easier, and there would have been at least 10 to 15 more opportunities on the table with more support from the program, high school program. Yeah. And it hurts me to say that because one of my favorite coaches, who was my head coach, at that time, Ron Crawford, fantastic coach.
I've heard nothing but good things about that guy.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Like what he's done in multiple seasons.
Yeah.
With what I see as a disadvantage.
What everyone that is looking sees.
Yes, the level of athletes compared to some of the other schools in Rutherford County and all other places that just have better athletes, the private schools, things
Sorry,
like that.
1 second.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You're good.
Yo, Nikki.
What up, bro?
Yo, me and Reg in the middle of recording, so you on the podcast right now. You can say what's up, and then I gotta bounce. All right. Peace, bro. Sorry, go ahead. No, you were saying, and a disadvantage. There's no question it's a disadvantage.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Yeah. At a disadvantage. Mm-hmm. And I personally feel like we had the best football team in the state. Oakland ended up winning the state that year, and they deserved it. They had a great football team.
Yeah.
We played very similar styles of football. Really solid defense, run game, strong as hell. That's how we played.
Yeah.
Franklin, the team that Oakland played,
they barely beat you
both,
guys.
They barely. We beat them earlier in the season. They were a really good football team.
Yeah.
But I believe we would have been a better matchup for Oakland.
Yeah.
They couldn't. Oakland just grounded and pounded their asses into the ground. Basically.
I was at that game. It was just running their throat. Yeah.
Running it down their throat. Yeah.
It was a close game, though.
Yeah. Franklin's defense wasn't as good as our defense. We had one of the top defenses in the state that year.
Yeah.
And so did Oakland. Really good D. We were very well. It would have been it would have been a slobber fest, bro. Yeah. We would have been out there cracking. We've been out there popping. We were much like the Tennessee Titans were this year.
Yeah.
Just physical as hell, and our offense wasn't flashy at all, but we got the job done, right?
Just grind it
out, man. Grind it out. Ground and pound game, old school football.
Yeah.
Those opportunities for college play could have been much better with more support. Now, I imagine if somebody like my dad had passed away, so he wasn't there to do it.
Yeah.
Harlan Lumsden Devontae, the gentleman that was in my life from 7-year-old, 8-year-old, 9-year-old, he wasn't there. Otherwise, if he was there, that dude would have made sure I was playing at damn USC or some shit. Like he would have got me to the Alabama. I'm not even playing, like dead set.
Yeah.
Like, he would have made sure I was prepared physically, mentally, emotionally, and he would have reached out and told these coaches, like, I got this fire-ass player down here. He's amazing. I've been grooming him. He's confident. He's intelligent. He's aggressive. He's smart. Like, he can do his thing. Like, he would have pitched it.
Yeah.
Even if I wasn't good enough, he would have sold him.
Yeah.
He would have sold him. He was one of those types of guys. I needed that. I needed a salesman.
Yeah, you needed a salesman. Well, man, okay. So, look, we know that that's true because there's guys out there. You mentioned Kevin Byard earlier, right? Okay. Kevin Byard is now, for a couple years, he's been like top 10 safety in the league. Okay. So, and then he decides he's going to go play at middle. Now, I don't know what made him decide to go play at middle.
He had very little scholarship offers.
Okay.
The scholarship offer he got offered to UK, University of Kentucky. One kid had took that scholarship offer before. If they weren't going to give it to this kid, they were going to give it to Kevin.
Okay.
But that scholarship got taken away. He ended up going to the University of Middle Tennessee State. Mm-hmm. And guess what? UK wanted him to play receiver. Do you think he would have made it to the NFL? Maybe. Maybe not. But he's natural at playing safety. Anyways, I just thought I'd share that little story. But he didn't get recruited either.
Well, thanks for that education. And that's the point I'm trying to make because here's the thing. There was some coach, or there at least, if he was on the right team, there would have been some coach that said, okay, this guy right here, at this point in his life, he doesn't look like the best guy on the field. But there's one thing I believe about good coaches is that they're able to see potential, right? They're able to see somebody that they know what this guy can turn into once he grows a little more, not just physically, right? There's a lot of growth between even late high school and college, but mentally as well. And that's a huge aspect of the game. You agree, right?
Absolutely. And I honestly believe that side of the game is undervalued, underappreciated, and marginalized.
Yeah.
Big time. Yeah, and I imagine moving forward, it will be prioritized and brought to the forefront, and we'll see athletes who are. I think we'll see athletes who are evolving in multiple ways. We're already seeing it with people like Bryce Young or some of the receivers that are coming into the league now. There's like many receivers that are already, could be number twos on the football team as soon as the NFL team as soon as they come out of college, which is pretty crazy, or number ones even.
Yeah.
We're just seeing an evolution of the game from a mental perspective now. And the side of it that I'm speaking about is more along the lines of how does one balance the game as well as the aspects of their life outside of the game? And how do they create the most supportive environment within their home?
Yeah.
How do they create the most supportive environment within their friend groups? How do they create the most supportive environment within just their outside the lines, so to speak? And I believe that once those places are shored up and they have those places that feel like really supportive, really nurturing, and that they can relax, then that's more energy that can go into the game. That's more focus, more effort, more effective and efficient attention and energy that can be brought into the game. Because I do believe that everything is touching everything. If one boat of somebody's life is being challenged, it's likely going to challenge other areas for sure. And that goes for athletes as well. Anybody who's a professional knows that, for sure.
Well, you believe it because that's a damn fact.
Yeah.
Man, that brings me to something I think about frequently because, I've thought about a lot. There were guys, you mentioned the Oakland team.
Yeah, they were a fantastic football team, by the way.
They were fantastic. They were, coming off 4 years before that. They during my time, because I graduated the year before they won state, and they just the year that they won state, they just switched coaches. Coach Thomas McDaniel was a phenomenal coach. He's at Christian Brothers in Memphis now, and they're decent there as well. But he and
Ronnie, he and Coach Crawford are related in some way.
Or I think they both maybe were under Gary Rankin. Do you know Gary?
Yeah, I remember.
Winningest
Coach
coach.
Crawford was a defense coordinator for Riverdale.
Was he?
Yeah.
I think a lot of those guys that came out really good were under Rankin at some point. And he's like the winningest coach in probably top 5 winningest coach in the nation or something. He just retired. But anyway, there were guys on the team that won state that year that I was like, why are you guys not at least going to play somewhere, right? You're very good. I got the opportunity for some of them, like came and went to be MTSU students. We played like flag football together. And I'd never been on the field with some of these guys that are younger than me, but they were still just like, I could tell these are freak athletes. They're very good. They should be playing college sports somewhere. And I remember asking like some of them, and it was just like they didn't even consider it, or you know what I mean, or like no, well, some of the guys I should say didn't even go to school, like didn't go to college, and they were just like they didn't even. It was like I was like, so where you thinking about going to play somewhere? And they're like, I didn't even think about it, and I'm just like, and so the reason I say that is because depending on what home you're in, right? Depending on what environment that you're in, if you have a family unit there that's like, all right, let's take this talent, this God-given talent that you have, and go on and make something. You know what I'm saying? At the very least, you can go get you a good education with this. And so that's, you see guys out there that I can only imagine. I think about this a lot. There's probably a lot of guys out there that could have been something, and they just didn't because they didn't have the support or something. You know what I mean? And so it just goes back to what you're saying, like everything. It's not just, I think when we think about college athletics, we think, oh, it's just, most people outside looking in, it's just, oh, they go to practice and they go to their games. But there's so much more outside of that that's affecting how well you're going to perform and how well that experience is going to go for you.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's interesting, man.
Environment's really important. There's just saying that because environment is everything. Environment is everything, and we pick up little subtle cues from our environment that either move us forward or can hold us back. And like for some of those athletes from Oakland that were definitely surefire college football players that just didn't even have the mental framework to to focus that direction.
Yeah.
What do you imagine their household may have looked like, or the people that were supporting them, or lack thereof support, obviously.
Yeah. If those guys had a mom like yours that was out here on fire for doing, maybe we got another Oakland player that's maybe playing the NFL. At the very least, have graduated from, and so at the university level. So yeah, that's
a big deal. That's a big deal. So for me, looking back at it, it's like hindsight's 2020. There's a lot that I can look back on and glean on and be like, I could have done this, I could have done that differently, cool. And doing that, just looking back right now, it's like really building relationships, honestly. Like really, really getting to know my coaches, really, really having conversations with them, really asking them questions, getting to know them, what they're desiring for the team, possibly. Like, what is your vision for the team? How do you see my role in this team? How can I support that vision? And then through asking him how I could support the team and the team's vision and his vision for the team and his, whatever, it's like, okay, all right, now these are the things that I desire as well. So how do these both fit together where we can, get this
I love
shit
that.
popping.
That's next level shit, though, Reg.
In a team.
That's next level shit.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, if you can instill that in a 14, 13, 15-year-old, how much respect are they going to receive from the coach?
Oh, my gosh. I wasn't capable of thinking like that at that age. But if you could communicate it. I mean, I was capable if somebody had.
You need leadership.
If I had leadership.
You need to be taught that
stuff. That's power, man. That's crazy. I love that. And that type of thinking, you're going to be in all sorts of teams, and you're always going to have leadership. You know what I'm saying? And if you're not a part of that leadership team, you still have objectives. And so you're talking about getting aligned. So how can I make sure that this is your ship, right? It's the coach's ship. I want to make sure that I'm falling within the plan of what it is that you want. But let me also let you know what it is that I want. How can we make the best situation out of those two?
Win-win.
And
then you have a really inspired and motivated athlete as well when they feel heard and seen and like the coach gives a fuck about them.
Yeah.
As well. That's really, really key and important. And there are a lot of coaches do care deeply. And, part of that's on the coach, but also it's like, I believe that we have access to so much information these days and so much education around personal relating, human development, human relationships, and how to communicate with one another, things like that, and team building, all that stuff. So why not teach young kids that and have them start out using those skills within their respective sports immediately with their teammates, with the staff on the team, with the coaches, and like really get in there. That's going to be effective for them. That's going to be a skill they'll have for the rest of their lives, and they'll probably be an excellent leader from that. So that's the way. If I could go back, I would look for somebody who was the embodiment of that level of being, of that type of being person. So yeah, which harder to. I imagine it's a lot easier to find now because of the sheer amount of information, and the coaches are evolving, the players are evolving. Like you see it, these athletes that are here now, it's like, dude, Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen, like. Kids and athletes are evolving. Like they are stepping into the NFL and ready to go now.
Dude, you left out Joe Burrow, man.
Joe Burrow, yeah, they're ready to go now. So it's like there's clearly an evolution mentally, emotionally, and physically that's happening within humanity.
Yeah,
and you can look at that at a microscopic level within sports.
Yep.
And I'm just like, why not just let's see what's available here. Let's see what the possibilities are. Let's. What I'm thinking now is like, let's get these kids into that type of mentality and framework and really understand themselves so they can articulate that to other people and also have other people reflect that back to them and just see what's possible from there.
Yeah.
I imagine the coherence and cohesion of a football team when there's that level of honor and respect and love as well.
Yep.
There's some danger there. There's danger for some other organizations and football teams when that's the foundation. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow, man. Um. Well, I think in the timeline we left off at we got into high school football a little bit. Um. So I want to go back and ask you a question. You know, going into high school, you said you were a little undersized. So
Very.
very undersized.
Yeah.
I know. I was tiny too, dude.
Yeah, we were both small, dude. We were both tots.
Freshman year, I was 5'4", and I weighed 100 pounds, and so now there's guys out there. I see kids today, man. I was watching. It's been a couple years ago, but Whitehaven was playing Oakland State, and there's this kid out there. He's a freshman, and I remember texting Trey about it after the game, but. He's a freshman. He's like, I feel like he was a defensive end or something. Just massive freshman out playing as a freshman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they beat us that year. But dude, I mean, so that's his trajectory. He just at a different place than me and you were. You know what I mean? Like we just physically weren't going to be able to do something like that. But I guess one of the questions I want to ask with that is. For kids that know that we're in a similar situation you going in and, they want to play, what can you tell them to kind of, give them hope about the future? You know what I'm saying? There's a 13, 14, 15-year-old kid that's undersized right now. And, what can you say? What can they do? I'm sorry. And
yeah, well, it would depend on, first of all, getting in touch with what they see their future being. What is their desire? Do they desire to play college football?
Let's say they do. Yeah. And they know it, because you knew at 14, 15, like, I want to play college football.
Yeah, I wasn't really thinking about it too deeply, actually. I was just really just in the moment, just playing football.
Just playing football.
Yeah, that's what I did. That's what I knew. That's what I enjoyed. So there wasn't like this really long-term vision where somebody like Kevin Byard, as soon as he stepped on the MTSU campus, he was saying, "I'm going to the NFL." So there was that longer-term vision there.
Yeah,
that's something that foresight I was not there. Now I'm sure some people do, but I would say first of all, get your long-term vision together.
Yeah,
because that's what's going to pull you forward, and that's what's going to give you inspiration as well as motivation to actually do the work required to achieve the goal that you want to achieve. So first of all, I would say get in touch with your vision mentally, get in touch with it in a visceral feeling standpoint. Like, what would it feel like for you to actually play college football?
Yeah.
What would it feel like for you to be in front of X amount of crowds or playing, on Saturday primetime against Alabama or Clemson or whoever the hell it is?
Yeah.
Get in touch with all of that stuff mentally, emotionally. And once you get in touch with that mentally and emotionally, that will pull you towards the steps that you need to take in order to get there from a objective, tangible standpoint of like, all right, workouts, find a strength coach, find a program that's suitable, that I vibe with, that I align with, that aligns with me, that I want to be with them, they want to work with me, and all that stuff. So make sure all that stuff is aligned. And I would say another thing is to be present. Don't look too far in create the vision, get the vision set, but work with what you have right now.
Yeah.
So if you're undersized and you recognize that's a weak spot in your game, and there's something that you can shift, then shift it. If you can get in the gym and shift some of those things, then shift them. Now there's some things that are nature, like your height, that you may not be able to change, your athletic ability, but there's some things that are nurture that come down to how much work are you willing to put into the gym. Yeah. Are you willing to show up at 5 a.m. and get extra workouts in? Are you willing to show up at 6 p.m. after school or whatever time it is and do another workout or recovery or stretch or get in the cold bath or go get treatment? Like, it becomes it becomes a process of really like finding what are the top 3 to 5 things that you need to take care of within yourself on a day-to-day basis in order to have your dream come to fruition.
Yeah.
And rep the shit out of them. Once you figure out what tools they are, what's going to be most effective for you, go to work. Go to work. Take it one day at a time. Be present, and work with what you got. Yeah. Be worried about looking at other people like, oh, he's bigger, he's faster, he's stronger. Yeah, cool. That may be true. Mm-hmm. And you're not him. So why are you looking over there?
Yeah.
Come back to you. Yeah.
The comparison game is not going to do many favors.
Yeah. Those are some things that I wish that I had. Now I'm speaking from now where I'm 30 years old. Yeah. When I was 15 years ago, that's not language that I had.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't even know what comparison was. Yeah. When I was 15, it's not something that's readily spoken about. And I say resilience is really key. Like, there are going to be setbacks. There's going to be challenges. You're going to have nicks, bruises, injuries, maybe season-ending injuries. That's a part of the game. Mm-hmm. But having that level of resilience to see it as a gift, like truly, as much as you can, see it as a trial that will become a triumph. Yeah, a trial that will become your testimony. Some pain that will turn into your power. We've seen it over and over again. How many athletes have been injured or faced challenges and used that pain, alchemize that into becoming a professional, or becoming great college player or whatever it is. We see it every season. Yeah. There's somebody coming back from injury. Joe Burrow this year. Yeah, it's like every season. OBJ. Tore his ACL season ago. Came back. Now he's in the Super Bowl. It's like finding out what it is that fires you up, that ignites something within your spirit, your heart, something that you want more than anything, and attach that to every step that you take, every workout that you step into, every film session, every conversation. Attach the value of that burning desire within you, attach that to every step that you take, and that'll give you the gasoline to be able to set the fire ablaze and keep going. Yeah. Those are some things that I would say. I have a lot of perspectives on this. The other thing, there's some more. Speak up, man. Speak up. Yeah. Speak what you want. Speak what you seek until you see what you said. Speak what you seek until you see what you said. Speak up for yourself. Like, if there's a conversation that you need to have with a parent, a coach, have the conversation. Yeah. And in that conversation, find out what they are, what their vision is, what they desire. And then once they, you get that out of the way, and not out of the way, you get that into the space. Yeah. Then express what you need, what you want, and see where there could be an alignment or how it could work. And it may not always go your way, especially on a football team. The main goal is to win. Right. So you're getting what you want. The coach may not see that as an opportunity to win. Yeah. And also, maybe the conversation doesn't work, and you just got to show them. You got to show them. Actions speak really loud. Yeah. Really, really loud. And that's what that's what Coach Crawford said about me. He said that I was a very quiet kid, like very quiet, didn't say much, yet I was a leader on the football team. How? By the way that I showed up, the way I played, the effort that I gave, the presence that I held on the field. Mm-hmm. People, it was effective for them. It helped them. It supported them. I didn't know it, but my coach noticed. When I was on the field, there was more like coherence, or there was something that he was seeing. Yeah. And that was just from embodiment. So you don't always have to speak everything, but it's just like, just show up fully. Yeah. Every time. Show up fully, man. Gas. Put the gas on. And take the breaks when you need. You have to have breaks. That's one thing that we don't speak enough about. But when I say show up fully, I mean mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, all of you in the room, right there, present, in the game, in the workout, all of you, as much as you can bring of you to that moment, and things will work out how they need to. And sometimes that may not look exactly how you want it to, because life beats to its own tune. And many times, sometimes we change the song, sometimes life changes the damn song, and we have to do a new dance.
Yep.
Our ability to be resilient and work with that flow is one of the most important things that any human being could learn, or athlete as well. So, yeah.
Whew, that's powerful, man. Yeah. So I love what you said about taking something that could be a really rough situation and being able to view that as an opportunity or turn that into an opportunity. Huge. You also mentioned, really stood out to me, was taking breaks. I talked about that a lot. And I do know at one time, particularly around the middle school area, I think you said you'd kind of gotten a little bit burnt or something like that. And have you taken the breaks, or were there times you wish you should have taken a break and then just kind of came back to it fresh? Is that something that you would, if there's a kid out there like that's been playing, maybe he's been playing from the time he's in second grade to the time he's in seventh grade and he loves the game, but he just needs time to back up and think for a second. Is that something valuable for kids to do and to understand that it's okay to do that?
That's a good question. I can speak from my experience.
Okay.
I believe that if I would have continued to play in seventh grade, then I would have continued to run the ball and improve in that aspect of the game. A lot of reflecting back on it, this was a long time ago, so I'm just going off of like what comes up immediately from memory. I feel as though a lot of the reason that I didn't play was because I wasn't doing what I wanted to do on the football field, yet still putting in all the work, putting in all the hours out there in the heat. And when you're doing all those things and you're not
getting what you want out of it,
yeah, it's like that goes for anybody that's in any profession or any job or anything that you're doing.
It's a recipe for burnout.
Yeah, I was just not happy.
Yeah,
that's the only. If I was happy, I was cool. You know what I'm saying? Similar to OBJ, for those of you that follow him, he was playing with the Cleveland Browns. This dude is passionate about football. You can see it in his face, the way he plays, the energy he shows up with. You see that now with the Rams. Did you see that in Cleveland? No. That dude was depressed. He was sad. I would be sad if I was in Cleveland too. Sorry, Clevelanders. But I'd be much happier if I was in LA. Yeah. But he's loving life right now and being productive on the football field. Yeah. So you imagine how unhappy he was being in Cleveland. He didn't perform well. Yeah. And some people are just like that. Randy Moss went to the freaking Raiders. Obviously, he didn't like it. He got caught. He only had 600 yards one season. This dude is a 2,000 yard potential type receiver, like Cooper Kupp, what he did this year. Randy, if he would have played with Tom Brady, I guarantee he would have had 2,000 yard seasons. Yeah, his whole career, I guarantee it. Anyways, that's another story. I'm getting off.
No, I get the point.
You get the point. I was unhappy.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I'm the type of person that when I'm unhappy, things are not good. Like really, that's really challenging for me to overcome. Now I'm better at it, and that's just something that's in my DNA. That's something that's a base that has to be covered for me to be really productive and effective. Is I need to feel happy.
Yeah.
And then like I'm where I need to be or where I desire to be.
It sounds like something that you're telling me without even explicitly saying it is like knowing yourself too.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. And that's something that kids obviously that's a process, and your identity is not fully formed until you're really honestly mid-20s, late 20s really.
Yeah. I feel like I just started getting it figured out. Yeah. I'm 32.
Yeah, me too. That's when 30, I feel like I'm just now stepping into it. And from a biological level, like our ego, our brain isn't even, our body and brain is not even fully done developing until 23, 24, 25 years old. So we're still in an adolescent state until that time, believe it or not, from a biological mental framework. Yeah. Our brain is still really spongy and can absorb a lot of information quite easily. So we got to be really careful what we're taking in and what we're all that stuff. So that's another piece that's comes with time, or it can come through borrowing the belief from your primary caretaker. Some people get that from their parents as well, like an MJ. Probably had it naturally, but also his brother beat the shit out of him, and they were competitive, and his dad instilled that in him as well.
Michael Jordan?
Yeah, that competitive nature.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Damn.
Anyways.
Yeah.
So we'll go back to the trajectory. Anyways, I was playing high school, did my thing, had a great season, 5 interceptions, lots of tackles, doing great, you know. And I got some scholarship offers from places where I didn't really want to go, but they were the only offers that I had. It's like for anyone out there who, it's like you got a job opportunity and like the pay may be pretty good, whatever, but it's like you're feeling, it's all right, but it's the only thing I have, so I gotta take it.
Yeah.
And you take it and you get there and you're like, fuck. I wish there was something else out there. I wish there was something. Why did I do this? I should have just waited or done something else or reached out to this person, been like, yo, can you help me? I need some help. Like something, anything other than putting yourself in a position where you're going to regret it, feel resentful, energy drained, not where you want to be. Yeah. Okay. Much better to choose from a place of alignment and trusting that your needs will be met. Yeah. Period. Yeah. If you choose to find the resources, because the resources are there. Anyways, went to I had South Carolina State, North Carolina A&T, Samford University. Samford's where I wanted to go, but just like KB, he was about to go to UK. The kid that the scholarship they were going to give to KB, somebody else took, so KB ended up going to MTSU. I wanted to go to Samford. They had already offered this other kid. He was on the fence. Then he was like, all right, I'm coming to Samford. So they called me back. They're like, you got no scholarship anymore. Sorry, kid. I'm like, damn, that was exactly what I desired. I love the coach. I love the recruiter. I love my coaches. Love the school. Beautiful campus. Great stuff. Didn't have the opportunity.
Where is Samford?
Samford's in Birmingham, Alabama.
Okay.
Yeah. It was really, really nice. Yeah. Anyways, ended up choosing. I declined South Carolina State, which was hard for me to say no. It was a people pleaser right here. Like it's challenging to this day for me to tell people
right
no.
Here.
Yeah. Right here. Raising my hand for those of you that can't see. And it's hard for me to say no. End up saying no. The coach had a negative reaction towards that. Yeah. I could sense that he was upset, frustrated, whatever. I was speaking to WKU as well, and they were going to have me come on as a walk-on, and I told them I wasn't going to come as a walk-on. I was only going to show up there if I had a scholarship. Yep. Coach ended up cussing me out.
The WKU coach cussed you out?
Cussed me out, yeah. Calling me names and shit.
Because you were only going to come for a scholarship.
Yeah. Cole Tisher, one of my friends, he remembers this. He may remember it, but yeah, he said that coach was an asshole. I don't think he lasted too long there, anyways. But
I want to talk to you before I forget. I want to talk to you about something related to the double standard with coaches and players. But go ahead.
Yeah,
sorry, I mean cut you off.
So I ended up choosing to go to North Carolina A&T. It was the best option. They had a scholarship. The whole time that I was debating going there, I was really on the fence. And honestly, when I checked in with myself, I didn't want to do it. But I did it anyways because it was the only option, really. Yeah. The best option that I had at the time to play D1 football. Yep. So I ended up going there reluctantly. I had a girlfriend at the time, wanted to be with her. Ryan, you remember this situation very well. I ended up calling you, telling you how awful I felt being there, North Carolina, 8 hours away from home. And I really just wanted to go to Middle Tennessee State University or some other school. And MTSU, I never heard a peep from them. I went up to their offices, coach's office, dropped my film off, with my mom. Keep this in mind. Went up to the office, dropped the film off, heard nothing back from anybody. So went to North Carolina A&T, got there, didn't like it. wasn't a fit. So I decided I didn't want to play anymore. Like for me, like I said, when I'm not happy, not much is productivity is gonna happen. Period.
Yep.
So I wasn't happy. I was like, yeah, I don't want to play. I don't even want to play football if that's the case.
Yeah.
So that's when I decided to quit. I decided like, yo, I'm backing out. I'm going to go back home and just go to MTSU and just go to school. I'm not going to worry about football because it's not working out in the way that I desire for it to.
Yep.
Is that the best mindset? Probably not. That was where I was at 17 years old. That's how I knew how to deal with it. So went back to Middle Tennessee, sat out for a year and just went to school, partied, got to know college life, all that stuff. And then after that year rolled around, I started getting this itch, this burn, this desire to express my gifts and talents. I'm like, I'm way too gifted athletically to allow this God-given ability to be wasted. What a shame that would be, right? God has literally planted this seed of athleticism and whatever else you want to call it within me. So let me use that, right?
Yeah, and let me stop you for a second just to confirm what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because during that year where you didn't play, you remember you came out and blessed us with your presence and played flag football with us.
Yes.
And everybody was like, that dude doesn't belong out here. Like, he doesn't, why is he out here with us? Why is he not out there with on Saturdays? And so, yeah. Anyway, go ahead. And that didn't end up being the case, but go ahead.
Yeah. I remember that. Those flag football games were a lot of fun. I got to sharpen up my skills that were pretty dull at the time.
You were like
rusty.
coaching us and shit.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
It was fun.
And then they changed the rules where no athletes could play.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, well, they made. Well, it was always supposed to be where the football players were not supposed to play.
Yeah.
Like if you basketball, you couldn't play basketball intramurals, but you could play football, flag football, right?
Yeah.
They changed where no athletes could play.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and that was the next year. So we had some track athletes on the team. You were playing at middle.
Yeah, scales on the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Meech and Asa. And we went completely undefeated. Like we were just, I'll show the picture, but we were just, a bunch of studs, and we ended up beating this kid that they used to play with in high school. And after we beat him, he went and snitched. Like he went and said, those guys have athletes on the team, and they disqualified us, man. But it was crazy. That was the year they changed the rule. We were like kind of fuzzy about it. Whatever.
Yeah.
Sorry, I derailed us.
That's the year that I went, and that's when I walked onto the team after that. That was 2010 when we played.
Yeah.
And 2011 is when I walked onto the team. Yeah.
And I was telling people, I was like, you see that dude out there? You see that dude out there making those plays? I was like, dude, he used to play with us.
Yeah. Good times, man. Yeah. Good times. So that year that I took off was actually really refreshing because I'd convinced myself that I was done with football. And really, I feel like that was my only way out of the North Carolina A&T situation. That's how I knew how to cope with it at that age. I didn't know how to actually say what or make sense of how I was feeling, because it's like I still want to play this sport, but I don't want to do it here, and I'm kind of fed up with the sport because I'm not where I want to be. Yeah, and there's a lot of emotional and mental confusion there.
Can I ask a question on that?
Yeah.
Okay, so what it sounds like to me happened was you had come to the conclusion that it was either play at North Carolina A&T
because I had a scholarship.
You had a scholarship there.
That was
or
it.
Football was over. You had made that logic, that line of thinking.
It was very black and white.
Right.
Yeah.
Look, I have done that shit so many times, and I know this is not a lesson that you're trying to give to the audience, but it's one I'm trying to give.
Yeah, bro, it's a big one.
When you run into situations like that, step back from it and be like, wait a minute. There's actually more alternatives in this. There's actually more than just I either play here and football ends. There's other things that can happen too. And sometimes we get pigeonholed and we're like, this is all that there is. It's either this or that, and I'm done, right? And obviously you figured that out, but go ahead.
Yeah, that's a really, really important point. And that's the nature of the logical mind. It often gives us options as either or instead of both and options. So that's what happened to me. It was either I play with a scholarship or I don't play.
Yeah.
Because that's the only excusable reason for me not to play is like, I'm just done. It's like Gronk said when he got traded to, remember when he was with the Patriots.
They wanted to trade him to Detroit.
They wanted to trade him to Detroit. And he was like, what? Fuck that. I'm done with football. I'm retired. You can't trade me. Remember that?
Yeah.
He just said he's just retired.
Yeah.
That's how I felt.
Yeah.
You know, athletes feel this shit, man. Some places you don't want to go there.
Yeah.
Screw that. You want to be in somewhere where you're happy.
Yeah.
That feels good. That you feel motivated in. And that North Carolina for me wasn't that place.
Yeah.
It just wasn't that place. Sanford would have been. Even if I would have said, I felt like I had to choose the scholarship. I felt pressure from my mom after all the work that she had done. You know, she busted her ass to get me a scholarship.
Yep.
And I felt like, oh, she's done all this work. I gotta do it. Like, what am I gonna do? She's done all this work, and then I'm just gonna choose to go walk on somewhere that doesn't give me a scholarship. Like, no, I'm gonna follow through with this. So that's really one of the main reasons why I followed through. I felt pressured from the outside, which was also my own internal pressure to please people, please my mom, please the coaches that I've been speaking to, and be like, all right, you're gonna do this, you're gonna play this position, you're gonna do that, and I just didn't know how to hold my boundaries and be like, this isn't actually what I want. And that turned into a chaotic situation later when I was just like, I didn't have any choice but to be like, yeah, I'm quitting.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you got so uncomfortable you had to bounce.
It just got worse and worse and worse when it could have been dealt with on the front end.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Lesson learned.
Tick that box. What I looking back, it's like, I could look at it as a both and. Okay, I want to play, and I don't want to play here. So if I want to play, and I don't want to play here, then where can I play? Where could I transition to or transfer to? And looking back, two options that were for me were going to UNC with Trey, go play with him, which was doable. I would have had to stay at A&T or go back to MTSU and make some really good grades to be able to get in. But I could have done that. I had the inspiration, motivation.
They've got pretty high academic standards, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Really high. I couldn't have. The only way that I was going to be able to play there was through scholarship from high school. Now I could have went like JUCO or done a semester or two at A&T and then transferred. Yeah, something like that.
Just to bring your GPA up?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Good enough grades to be able to actually get into the school.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's I just ended up going back to MTSU, and that's when that inspiration came up, and it was just like, yo, I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play again, and this is what I really want to do. So I'm gonna do it. And as soon as I made that decision, I got in the gym. I went to the Bat Cave. It was demon time at that moment. And I started typing out my goals, wrote them all down, typed them up on the computer, went to the computer lab, printed them out, and posted every single one of them on my door. So every day that I went out, I could see those goals. I did this intuitively. It wasn't something I was instructed to do. Nobody knocked on my door or texted me and said, Reggie, go do this. It just innately felt like what needed to be done. And now that I understand the science behind writing things down and putting goals down, I understand that was extremely advantageous for me to even get on the football team. So 2010 sat out, 2009 to 2010 sat out. Fall of 2010, I walked on to the football team. I tried out and didn't make it. And they said, come back out in the spring of 2011, try it again. We'll see what we can do. Yeah. So there were some other people who tried out at the same time, didn't make it. They just quit. They didn't come back, right? I was like, you know what? I know I'm good enough to play somewhere. I don't give a shit. Like, I'll figure it out. I'll go to TSU. I'll do whatever. At that point, I was like, I'll do whatever. So I keep going to work out, wake up early before class, 7 o'clock classes. I'll wake up at 5 a.m., go work out at, from 5:30 to 6:30 or whatever time it was, go to my 7 o'clock class, hustle, do all those things, got in really good shape for the most part on my own. And then I was like, yeah, I need a coach. So ended up hiring a strength coach to work with me, one of my former high school, almost teammate. He graduated the year before I got there, but we were on the same football team. He trained me, got in really good shape. My buddy Tony Rowland, he went to Ravenwood School down the street from Brentwood High School. We were high school rivals. And he was training. We both were training, and we just went after it. We formed a brotherhood, and that we pushed one another. And that's what really supported me in being able to walk back onto the football team. And tried out again in spring of 2011 and made the team. And it was a wrap from there, man. Once I was on, I was so excited, so motivated, and just ready to roll, and thankful for the opportunity. And just thankful to God for giving me the ability, the resolve, the energy, the inspiration to even want to do so, and to be able to go from an idea to action, an idea, conceptual thought or imagination to true reality. And that was really cool to experience from making that decision. So it was awesome, man, and had a great time. Got there in 2011, did mat drills, almost died. I literally was like,
I remember you talking about it a little bit in college, how hard that shit was. That was like 6 a.m., right?
dude, no, it was 4 a.m.
4 a.m.
4 a.m., dude.
I just remember, like, I remember waking up at times, you know, it was like 7:45, I'm about to run a class, and I'm like, damn, Reggie's already fucking basically dead this morning.
Yeah. Dead, boy. Dead. Me and Tony were going through it, man. It was crazy.
I was like, better him than me.